you. Church is a building. People go and worship and serve and pray and connect. That's what church is. I've been going to church my entire life. In fact, I think they probably stopped at the church on the way home from the hospital. It doesn't matter what church I've been to it. Presbyterian, Pentecostal, Baptist, Nazarene, Mennonite, Methodist, non-denominational, multi-denominational, interdenominational, used to be denominational. It doesn't matter. I've been to church. That's why it seems a little odd that after going to church and even pastoring for a spell, I would come to the conclusion that it's a bad idea for me to go to church right now. To take you back a little bit, 20 years ago when we landed in Lancaster County from Connecticut, and for a small slice of time, we hadn't found the ideal church yet, so we decided as a family that we were just going to pour our best talents and gifts and resources and time and energy into our neighbors who were around us. So there on 23 between Leola and New Holland, we just started to pour into our neighbors. And there were the 3 college guys and the farmer and his wife, because there's always a farmer and his wife, we learned here in Lancaster County. And across the street it was a Russian family, and then the Zimmermans and the Zooks, because there's always a Zimmerman and a Zook somewhere within Lancaster County. And then a couple with 4 boys and 3 other families. They lived above Achenbach's Bakery, and we lived next door. So there we are. We decided to pour into our neighbors. So we threw this big Christmas party. We had just gotten to town, so we had boxes everywhere, but we threw this big Christmas party. I played the piano, we sang Christmas carols, we ate cookies, we sipped hot chocolate. The Russian mother, who couldn't speak a word of English, grabbed our baby and held tight, and we were thrilled to be doing church with our neighbors. And it worked. And after a year, between that Christmas party and the next year's Christmas party, we babysat kids and we learned of gardening from the Zimmermans and the Zooks, who were really upset how we Northerners were farming. It's almost like an insult, but they helped us, and we were with the farmer and his wife, and the college kids came over, and the family over here that didn't have enough money came over and had a meal with us, and we loved our neighborhood. But as time went on, and creatures of habit, we started going to a church. We found a church, and it made sense, so that's where we were. And playing the piano for offering turned into playing for service and playing for every service, and then organizing the musicians for every service. And sharing a little bit turned into speaking a lot and speaking more, and then preaching all the time. And you lead this, then you lead that, then you lead this and that, then you lead this, that, and that, and boom, I'm the pastor. That's how that worked. Then we finally moved to the other side of town, but the commitment, the resolve, we're still going to love our neighbors. Well, the more we got involved in church, the less we did church. And the more we focused on driving the 30 minutes to connect with people we saw once a week, the less we were connected to those we saw every day. So then I'm the pastor, so it even gets a little more involved, right? The question, who can have communion? And can he have communion? Can she have communion? Can kids have communion? Are you too old for communion? I mean, it's like, just pass it out. And then there's baptism questions. And I was baptized as a baby, and I'm a grown man, and do I go all the way under? Do you just sprinkle a little? Am I poured? And it doesn't really matter. But it did matter, and as a pastor, I was responsible to come up with some statement that would make it okay for everybody. And then the visitors, I mastered how to connect with every visitor in like 12 seconds flat at the end of the service. You had to zig and zag and pass the storyteller who was a regular and would tell you the same story over and over again, and pass the one who was going to critique your sermon, because the critique will be the same in Monday's email as it will Sunday afternoon. And you get to all the visitors, and I'm running in the parking lot just to make sure I shake everybody's hand, because that's what a pastor does. Like Superman chasing Lois Lane. I'm coming. Welcome, good to have you. And then the playground, the church, the parents came and said, we want to have a playground because we want to love and serve everybody and we want to connect with people and our kids need a place to be, hashtag babysitting. So I go to the Sunday school director and they say, we're not doing it. And I go to the people in charge of money, we're not doing it. And maintenance, we're not doing it. But all of a sudden I have to be the communicator of all the silent, invisible people who said no, and the bullseye's on me to go back to these parents to say, no, right now, whatever I said to quiet the crowd until the pounding of the new playground at the church down the street gets louder and louder. It's a mess. Church just gets too complicated sometimes when we're simply called to love God and love people. So when pastoring ended 2 years ago, I'm not in a rush to go back to church. In fact, I'm calling it a bad idea right now. I'm okay to host the African student who was in my home for several months as he's trying to navigate an American that calls his homeland a shithole nation. I'm okay because I'm connecting with the friends who come every other Friday night and sit around the table without agenda just to share stories and do life together. Or the brother who meets me for beer every week. He comes from his ER with his ER scrubs, and we connect and just ask questions that no one else will allow us to ask. So right now, going to church probably isn't my best idea. Being church, absolutely. Thank you.